Some changes are coming to the way background checks are done for some county employees in Marion County. TV 20's Misty Webb tells us the county attorney worked with staff members to expand the changes to cover not just firefighters, but also vendors and contractors who work with the county.
Marion County Board of Commission held their only meeting in January to discuss this public ordinance of the criminal history screening. Marion County Commissioners passed the motion unanimously. This ordinance already applies to firefighters, but Human Resources and the county attorney worked together to expand it to vendors and contractors who work with the county. Marion County officials currently use a fingerprint database for state and national criminal history background checks.
We've been doing this for years. However, there is a new state statute that came out, and that state statutes require that an ordinance is passed by each county government in order to continue doing this.
Commissioners say this will not change the current procedures in place with background checks. Residents I spoke to say they feel this procedure is necessary.
I think everybody should get a background check because we have to have our safety for each and every person in our counties.
Brenda Abel-Stryker says she's noticed an increase in crime throughout Marion County and feels requiring people who work as vendors and contractors with the county to get background checks is important.
They need to be stable, and if they haven't been stable, I don't think we should have them out in our community working like that in that type of a job, profession.
County officials say they will continue using the FBI's database to prevent people with certain backgrounds from working with the public. In Ocala, Misty Webb, TV 20 News.